All right, here we are, last week of school. If you're reviewing this, it's because you were absent on either one or both of our synchronous days. And I really hope that no one is absent during this last week because it would be so amazing to be able to say goodbye and wish you well on summer. But I do understand that some things happened. So if you're watching this, it's because you are gone. This week, if you remember from last week, is different. So Wednesday, Friday cohort, you are meeting Monday and Wednesday this week. So Wednesday, the 16th will be your last day of school, and my Tuesday, Thursday cohort, your last day will be Thursday, the 17th. So for our synchronous days, I've got lots of fun things planned for us. We're going to do lots of reflection and kind of wrapping up and the surprise that I told you about 2 weeks ago. And your job for asynchronous is to catch up on any missing work that you can still turn in and then to have an amazing summer. So let's get started. First off, if you are gone on the day that we are doing this, which is the first synchronous day, either Monday or Tuesday, let me know and I can email you your copy. But I need you to fill this anticipation guide out again. I had you fill this out at the very beginning of the unit before we started reading the book. And now you're going to go through and answer on this side, the after reading side, to see if anything's changed, if anything looks different or maybe stays the same based off of your responses before reading Trevor Noah's book. So we're going to do that. And then I just want to say, take a moment and really recognize you did it. By the end of this week, you will have survived a really crazy year of distance learning, of hybrid learning. And I really want you have been able to accomplish a lot in a very strange and crazy year. There's been so much that's happened. And I just want to take a moment and not focus on how crazy this year has been, but focus on how much you have been able to accomplish and what you've been able to do, specifically within English 9. So let's take a look back at what we've covered. So we started, if you can remember, way back when, we started this quarter or semester, I should say, learning about short stories. We did a short story unit, and this is just a very quick glance at some of the things we talked about. I just kind of took screenshots of the different slides. We learned about things like character and setting and plot and writing a theme statement, what the differences between theme and topic. We talked about point of view and perspective and symbolism and tone, and we've got some really great things that came out of that. We also did a poetry unit, and we learned about what different types of poetry exist. We learned about figurative language and poetic devices. We learned how to analyze poetry and look at the different parts. You were able to write your own poems, which was super cool. And we just wrapped up our nonfiction unit, looking at our essential questions about identity and empathy and how different things can change the way that we view the world, the mirrors and windows that we find in literature. We learned about the danger of a single story and what heritage is and empathy. And we read some very crazy stories from Trevor Noah's life. We learned about golden lines and the fact that reading is an act of empathy. It's always an imagining of what it's like to be somebody else. So you've accomplished quite a bit. And we also looked at a lot of different books for First Chapter Friday. This is just pictures of all the different books that we looked at, different categories. It's sad that we didn't get to have English 9 for an entire year like you normally would, because then you'd have even more options than these to look at. But next year, hopefully, maybe I'll have some of you again. As far as I know, I'll be teaching sophomores and juniors next year, so I might see you again, and you'll get a chance to hear another First Chapter Friday. So what I want you to do, this is really important. I have found a website where you can write a letter to yourself and it'll be emailed to you on a specific date. I wanted to do this because I thought it would be super cool, super fascinating, and helpful for you. And I am really glad that I found a digital version. So you're going to be writing what I call a letter to your sophomore self. So this letter will be emailed to your school email the first week of your sophomore year of high school, which will be a few months from now. So these are the prompts that I want you to look at and answer. Write a letter to your sophomore self considering the following prompts. What was the most challenging about this year, your freshman year? What was the best thing that happened this year? What advice would you give your future self going into your sophomore year as you're leaving freshman year right now? Who was the person in your life that made your year better? And what do you hope your life is like by the time you graduate high school in 3 years? So you can talk about, in terms of things that you learned, you can talk about things that you learned in class. You could also talk about things that you learned in life, in your own personal life outside of school, anything that you want to include in this letter that you want to read in a few months as you start your fresh or sophomore year. So you will, let me exit out here. In order to do this, if you go to the link at the very bottom in the chat, in the little comment section, you can click on that link and it'll take you directly to the website itself. So it should look like this. So you can start writing your letter here, and you're going to use either your school email, or you can use a personal email address. It's one that you need to have access to, because I really want you to be able to read this letter when it's sent to you on September 13th, 2021. So take a moment and write a letter to yourself. All right. So something else that I want us to do this week, I want you to use your voice. Again, another opportunity for it. Your voice really, really matters to me. I really genuinely care about your perspective, your opinion, your view on different things. And what I want you to do is fill out this feedback survey for me. It's called a Feedback for Mrs. Albritton Google form. I'll see if I can open it up for us. It's linked in the slides. It's also linked directly on Canvas. So if you click on this, it'll take you to the Google form. And this is going to give me, the whole purpose of this is for you to express your perspective and to tell me how English 9 was for you, to tell me how you enjoyed it overall. I felt safe and comfortable and able to learn. You're going to rate that. Mrs. Albritton cares about me as a person, not just my grade in the class. Looking at what was your favorite part about class, what was your least favorite part, and why. Please make sure when you tell me your responses, give me whys, tell me why. Tell me if there was a favorite unit that you did this semester, if there was something you wish we would have done, if there was something that I can do or that I did do to make English 9 awesome. Is there something that I could do to improve this class for students that are going to take it in the future? And then I would love for you to, if you can think of one, come up with a really cool and fun attendance question. We all love the attendance questions, and I think it would be awesome to add to my bank of questions. So if you can think of one, I would love you to tell me. And then anything else that you would like to share. So this is linked in the slides. It's linked on Canvas. If you could please fill this out for me, I would very much appreciate it. You don't know how important your perspective is to me. So take a moment and fill that out for me. And then lastly, for this first synchronous day, we're going to kind of create a puzzle collage. So looking back on your assignment of Golden Lines and Patricia's advice, I want you to pick just one. You can do more than that if you want, but just at least one golden line or one advice from Patricia, and I want you to write it out. I'm going to give you a handout of a puzzle piece, and I want you to write it and kind of, color it, decorate it however you want, because I want to be able to cut these out and then put them on the wall for my future students next year. So that's what we'll be doing to wrap up Synchronous Day 1. And then Synchronous Day 2, which means it's the last day of school. I hope that you have lots of fun things in store to kind of celebrate this crazy year coming to an end, your freshman year of high school. Also, I want to say, after you filled out that survey response, thank you. It's going to be, I haven't obviously recording this in the future. I know it will be amazing to read each and every one and to see the things that you have to say. So thank you for doing that. We're going to do one more reflection before we get to a fun little surprise. I want to recall your memory back to learning about a growth mindset. If you remember this phrase in this slide, I guess I just haven't learned that yet. We learned about a growth mindset in the very beginning of quarter 3, semester 2. And I want you to answer these questions. You can, if you're doing this, if you're not here on the very last day of school, you can just email this to me. But Answer these questions for me. How did learning about a growth and fixed mindset change the way that you view school? Was it easy to forget about having a growth mindset when challenges came up? And what are some practical ways that you could practice a growth mindset in your sophomore year of high school? So I want you to think about that and respond, write that down. All right, here's our surprise. We are going to be watching an episode of The Office. I've seen and heard from many of you that you love this show just like I do. So we're going to watch one of my favorite episodes, and we're going to do a little activity with it, including writing a summary and supporting evidence to write a theme statement. So we're going to be watching The Injury. And here are some topics that you can think about as we're watching it: friendship, compassion, pain, drama, and the need for attention. Okay, that's all that I have. This is the very last thing for your freshman year of English. I, to be cheesy and corny, have this quote from Andy Bernard: I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. Which might seem strange to include in a year that involved a lot of chaos and distance learning and technology problems and all the things that happened. But I really, truly am so grateful that I had each and every one of you as a student in my class. Don't be a stranger. I'm going to be at West next year in the same classroom, so stop by and say hi. I would love to see how you're doing and what's going on in your life. If you have any questions, let me know. Have an amazing summer. See you soon.